Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. We appreciate all of our sponsors, and we also appreciate all the things they're doing for our golf tournament. I'm in a weird mood right now, but I know that my guests today, Coach Spurrier and Robbie Andrew, will get me out of it. We'll talk a little bit about the tournament, but it's been a wild ride to get. I can't believe it's here. We're ready for it. I got some more things to pick up. So many generous people in this town. It's amazing how good they are. All the things they've done. I mean, whether it's donating things, including from here, from Coach Spurrier's Grill. We've got a great prize there. We've just got a ton of stuff. And again, I mentioned this on the radio too, but if you want to come out and bid on stuff, look, we just want to raise the most money we can raise. So, come on out. Come on out. You don't have to be playing a tournament to bid. All right. Today, Coach Spurrier is going to join us. He is fresh from his trip up north to play golf, and looking forward to have him on, and then Robbie will be on. No show Thursday, okay? I'm taking Thursday off. It's tournament time, man. We got a lot to do Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We're gonna be running all around Tim's car, Tim's truck, dropping stuff off. We got so much. We got 26 helmets, I think, right now that we got in. So we got to do all that work. So no show Thursday, and we'll be back with you Monday with Coach Spurrier. All right, let's get to our Process Service of Gainesville starting five, brought to you by Scott Hart and Process Service of Gainesville. We appreciate them. Our starting five, we start with number one, which to me the best story of the weekend was obviously softball winning. What a weekend it was. The 3 games were unbelievable. The game Sunday, I had to go explain it several times to my wife what happened, and even I wasn't sure I was right. But if you did not see it, now again, Florida wins 2 one-run games going into that game, and they had won the series, but they wanted to have second place all to themselves. So there's a play where the throw comes home. They have it was a close play. The batter was definitely safe. They threw down to third. The batter was definitely out. However, both teams challenged it. So I've never seen that, 2 challenges on the same play. Okay, never seen it. But and then after that, Florida lost both challenges. Florida challenged one, they challenged the other. They won theirs, Florida lost theirs. So they lost 2 challenges on one play. On the next play, there's a pop-up, and Mia Williams loses it in the sun, and it falls. And it turned out they had called them out on an infield fly, but the girl from first didn't know because the umpire out there didn't. And so she ran and then they just tagged her with the ball, and they called it out. And the first base coach, got thrown out of the game. It was crazy. It was wild. That was fun to watch, I will say that. But that was good for them. In fact, our Campus USA play of the weekend comes from this weekend. And this is a game where Florida had a huge lead. I think it was 8-1, and then blew it. And then finally, in the I think it was bottom of the 8th, right? Yeah, bottom of the 8th. Here comes Josie Erickson. And Erickson in the left field, I'm pretty sure it was a 3-2 pitch. I know it was a 2-strike pitch. To go the opposite way. Go across the street and explain to these guys how you go the opposite way sometimes. It's okay. But that was a great celebration, and that was on Saturday night, and then for Florida to come back, and Sunday, that game looked like it was getting away from them, and they won that game. The first night, they won 2-1. So it was a great weekend for Florida softball. Let us move on from our Campus USA play of the weekend to number 2, which is moving on to the SEC tournament where Florida will play. We now know they will play in the Thursday game I think it's 5 o'clock. Now, I looked at the official SEC release and it said 4 o'clock Eastern time. And then somebody else looked it up and they said it says 5 o'clock on mine. So they're playing at some point. We know that. But they're playing at some point Thursday afternoon. They'll play the winner of Auburn and Georgia. Georgia's a better team, but Auburn will have the home crowd at 4 o'clock, at 5 o'clock. It may not matter. I don't know. Just go win some games. Now, Florida right now is at 10 in RPI. I think they have a better KPI or whatever that is. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. They probably need to win a couple of games to make sure they get to host Super Regional. They're going to host Regional, so you haven't seen the last of that. Let us get to number 3, which is that you are seeing the last of Jack Caglione. It's a shame. This will be his last weekend here. Of course, Florida has game Tuesday. Then they play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But and unfortunately, we'll see how they can, if they can finish this off and somehow finish over 500. The RPI is really high. I think it's 20. I didn't write it down, but I think it was 28, which is a good enough RPI. But you got to be over 500. They won't let you in. So they've got now they've got a lot of big games here. The last 4 are going to be at home. This one, and then the 3 games against Kentucky, and then next week they play at Georgia, and then you got the SEC tournament. So there are a lot of games, but you got to finish over 500, and I think they'll get in. But we'll see what happens with these guys. Hey, look, it's nut cutting time, but I mean it's just the bottom line. You got to get it done, man. You've got to go get it done, and win some games, win some close games, win some one-run games that you haven't been winning. Take a lead. Don't fall behind once. They've been behind in every SEC game. I don't know. Maybe it's just not meant to be for these guys, but we'll see what happens here as we go forward. This is let's get to number 4, and which is the lacrosse. I mentioned lacrosse last week. They won that AAC tournament. Great job by Mandy O'Leary and her team. They will now play Friday at 6 o'clock versus North Carolina. That regional is in Virginia. So they would probably play Virginia. I think Virginia has LIU, so they would probably play. Now, I know that lacrosse doesn't get the same attention that a lot of sports do here because it's not in the SEC, but it's the NCAA tournament. And when we talk about the NCAA and we kind of make fun of the NCAA and how bad it is, this is the kind of thing that would go away if there was no NCAA. Who is going to put on these tournaments? And, I mean, they're doing it. That's part of the funding that they have. So now there's a lot of people say, good, get rid of them all. I'm not one of those people. I believe in all sports, and I like what's going on. I don't know what lacrosse will be able to do. I mean, they've got the 5 seed and the whole thing in Virginia if they get past North Carolina, but I'll be paying close attention, maybe even watching some of it. I think it's on the plus, lacrosse. So let's get to number 5 on our process service of Gainesville starting 5, which is we're about out of teams in this state to in the playoffs, right, for all different sports. We all know that in this 2 teams in this state did not do well in the football and the NFL playoffs. Now the basketball teams are all gone. The Magic get beat in Game 7. Had a huge lead, 18-point lead, couldn't hold that. All we've got left are the Panthers, and I don't care about the Panthers one way or another. I'm actually kind of a Rangers fan, believe it or not. It's a long story why I like the Rangers, but I don't want to enough to watch the games, okay? I would go to it. I have been to Rangers games. I love going to live hockey, but not on TV. Anyway, the Magic are losing. Now we're down to the Panthers. That's it for teams from Florida. Not a great year. Remember the year that Tampa won like everything? It was. They won hockey, football, and I think they were in the finals of the Major League Baseball playoffs. Yeah. All right. So that's going to do it for our process service of Gainesville starting 5. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Coach Spurrier will join us. We look forward to having him and talk to him about a lot of things. We'll maybe even get into some technical stuff about football because I love talking technical stuff with him, finding out what the name of plays are and where he got them and stuff like that. So we may get to that at some point as well, and we'll talk about, of course, salaries and everything like that when we come back on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studio. Process Service of Gainesville offers a rapid turnaround on affidavits of service for Gator lawyers locally and nationwide. Our friend Scott Hart offers immediate responses on status requests and is a member of NAPS and FATS. and he has been a part of the community for almost 2 decades. Need service? Call Process Service of Gainesville at 407-697-9592 or email shartgators, that's G8TR, at yahoo.com. And make sure you ask about the paralegal legal secretary bonus program.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
I was driving behind a lady, and very suddenly she moved out of the way. There was a log laying in the road, and when I hit my brakes, I went on top of the log. I had 280 discs. I just haven't been the same since. Jeffrey Meldon fought for me all the way. Him and his team really went there for me. Throughout the whole lawsuit, he made sure that my bills was paid. It was never no whenever I called him and asked him for something.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Okay, welcome back to another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Dooley Gator Studios. And it's a great pleasure to bring on Coach Spurrier again, back from his golf adventure. I need to know what your number was up there.
I played with Dave Dorn, NC State coach.
Yeah.
Oh, he can play. He hits it a long way. And I think we finished 5th out of about 12 teams.
That's not bad.
So anyway, we made some good pars and a good birdie here or there. Best shot I hit all day, almost canned a sand shot. Other than that, I was just out there trying to, hit some greens and things like that.
It was kind of weird because I saw the picture of you guys, all the coaches there on the steps, and I was like, former Florida coach, former Florida
Merlin,
coach, former
Urban.
Florida. Yeah, there's 3 of you.
I think Urban may have won it. I think he was in
Really?
a playoff. He and his partner were in a playoff, I think. So
he's playing a lot of golf. I know that now.
I watched him on the practice tee. He was out there early. He was one of the first ones out there. And, Urban can hit the ball pretty well. Heck, he's only, 57 or 8?
Yeah.
He's a youngster out there.
Yeah, but I do think he's done with football.
Yeah, he doesn't want to. I ask him every now and then if I come back. He said, no, I've had enough.
Yeah, he really has. It obviously was a good weekend for softball, bad weekend for baseball again. Softball sweeping Texas A&M, so Florida gets a 2 seed in the SEC tournament, and that was all those games came down to the wire. I know they ruled them the last day, but it was only because of I don't know if you've ever seen this where you've had an infield fly double play where the infielder couldn't catch the ball, and then they went and tagged the batter, so it ends up being a double play.
I'll be dang. Yeah, I guess I haven't seen that, but sometimes as soon as it goes up, the ump says he's out or something.
The home plate umpire said out.
Can you do that? Yeah.
Yeah, and then
if they drop it,
they dropped it.
Does everybody start running?
But they started running. Because they thought it was just a regular play. What a weird play that was. But it's good for them. They're looks like they got a chance to host a super regional, not only a regional but a super regional. Baseball, on the other hand, they're just fighting to stay in it. They have to have a winning record. They've got a great RPI, but just can't. Some teams have it and some teams don't. You know what I mean? That clutch gene that the Danny Werfels of the world had.
Yeah, it was funny. I was at my office, and I keep a copy of an article. We had a reunion of our high school baseball team, and we won back-to-back state championships, and our schools won 4. So we got 2 of the 4 in almost 100 years. They've been playing there since 1925 or 30, it seems like. So and I look back, and we won every close game. I asked one of my teammates, you remember us ever losing a 1 or 2 run game? He said no. Now, we got clobbered a couple times.
Yeah.
My junior year, we lost by a score of 13-1 twice to Kingsport. And then we win the district, and then we get to the region in Knoxville, and we beat them 5-4 and went on and won the state championship. Now, they were obviously probably a better team than us overall, but that night in Knoxville, we got 5 and they only got 4. and we went to Nashville and won the state that year. So best teams don't always win. The teams that sort of make it happen and know how to win, I guess, are your ultimate champs.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to that. There's something to just having an ability to win. But, it's funny, when they were talking about this in the draft, they were talking about how, just because you're great in college doesn't mean it's going to translate a quarterback at that position especially. And I think about all the guys that have come. Danny, they get a cup of coffee, Tim Tebow obviously had one great season, but that was it. But you never know what's going to happen with a quarterback coming out. And so I have no idea either, because the best quarterback that you had in terms of NFL career probably was Rex, right? Because he went to a Super Bowl,
And really, the team, last team that we had here in 2001, Rex's year, we didn't even have a close game except the two we lost.
Yep.
Lost by 3 and lost by 2. And we finished third in the nation, but we didn't win the SEC. So the fans just said, that's Spurrier. He's lost it. He hadn't won but one SEC in the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, then you get
third in the nation.
Then you go down there and just wax the ACC champion, Maryland Terrapins, too.
Yeah, that's right. They were the champs down there. But Rex and that team was really good.
Well, you had Rex suspended for the beginning of that game.
He missed curfew.
Back late. Yep,
he missed curfew, and we let Brock Berlin start it, and I think he played about first quarter, I think.
About a quarter and a couple of plays, and you just kind of went, let's go win it.
And then Noah Brandeis up top, he was my GA quarterback coach, Noah was. And he said, Coach, don't you think it's time to put Rex in? I was okay. So we put him in the second quarter, and away he went,
Now, when you're coaching that game, are you thinking, this is my last game?
No, not particularly, but a little bit. It was just, 12 years and opportunity if I was going to go in the NFL. Back then, mentally, people used to say, I'm going to coach till I'm 60. Now I'm going to coach till I'm 70 or 75. Yeah. In fact, I was actually in Columbia this weekend, and Dawn Staley, women's basketball coach, who went 38-0 this year, and anyway, they had a little birthday party. I didn't even know they were having it. But my wife, Jerry, found out, and she said, come on over. And so she's 54. I said, Dawn, you got a lot more championships here at South Carolina. She said, I'm quitting at 60. I said,
Really?
No, you're not. Right now, 6 more years from now. But no, when she gets 60, she'll have too much in her. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It is. 60 is the new 50 or the new 40 or whatever.
Yeah,
but
70 is plenty, 70, 75. Then it comes down to wins and losses,
Yeah, and a lot of times it's how you feel about what's going on. Have I been here long enough? It's like Calipari leaving. Calipari says they need a new voice.
That's right. Well, he should have left, and it just wasn't working. I heard Sam Pittman on the radio today, the Arkansas coach, and I asked him what he's doing. He said, I'm going out fundraising right now. That's what the head coach does. He goes and sees the boosters and said, we need donations, man. We got to pay our players now.
Exactly.
If we want to compete, we got to get in line, which is sort of sad, but that's what it is now. It's what the head coaches do. They don't even coach anything. Ryan Day at Ohio State, they asked him he hired Chip Kelly to be offensive coordinator. Yep. He said, I'm the fundraiser now.
Yeah. It's like you're
There would not have been any fun for me at all.
It's like you're the face of the. I remember you saying this. You never wanted to be the guy that was the CEO of the team. You just wanted you wanted to call plays. You wanted to run offense. You wanted to be the inspiration.
And I would say 50% or more of the head coaches. That's all they are is a CEO. They don't coach anything. They just try to coach the coaches or manage team. Manage policies and all this, that, and the other. And now they're into the fundraising. Every head coach has to be involved in that.
And you have to have it. If you don't have it,
you're going
to lose players.
That's right. And then you have to, then you need to win to attract guys.
Right.
Yeah, and so forth. So it's a difficult recruiting is still a little bit important, but not like in the old days. You get a 4 or 5 star to come. He may leave after summer practice. You don't know when they're going to leave. So but everybody's got the same rules. So we'll see how it plays out this year for the Gators. Yeah.
I think we were talking about Brock Berlin. I think he was the highest rated guy you ever signed. I think he was the number one.
He was a
player.
high school All-American. Yeah, I remember that. And Rex was already here. Of course, we were recruiting Peyton Manning when Danny was already here.
That's right.
And we had Danny and Eric Kresser.
How serious do you think he took the Florida visit?
Who, Peyton?
Yeah.
Well, he was very interested in a while. I mean, he and his dad came. I think they watched the spring game or something, and he admitted that the way we threw the ball around was, best for him. But then opportunity, it was better at Tennessee because of Danny and Eric Kresser here.
Right.
So, in hindsight, we're all glad he went to Tennessee.
He went 0-4 against Florida.
Yeah, but they only lost about 3 conference games during his time there. All to us. They beat everybody else.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, but that was a fun time. Now it's just we're kind of losing sight of what's going on. I'm wondering how many of these kids are going to even get degrees. Yeah, graduate.
That's the worst part. I said 2 years ago when all this paying players came in, we'll wait to about 10 to 15 years from now and see what happened to them.
Right.
They all think they're going to make a bunch of money in college and then make a bunch in pro football. And only, 3% get an opportunity to play pro football, and only about 1.5% play 4 or 5 years. So the odds are just not good because there's too many college football players that want to do this. So anyway, that's the game.
Too many guys with third uncles in there, like Urban used to call it, third uncles in your ear.
I watched the UFL, which is the spring football league now. In fact, the Renegades play the Memphis Showboats this week, and they were in the USFL, and so forth. And we had a player, Davion Smith, that played for the Orlando Apollos. In 2019, we won the Alliance of American Football, that spring league, and he's with the Renegades now.
Is he?
Yeah, he's there 5 years later, and he's still hoping to get a shot to the big leagues. So, and there's, every player in that UFL now, they hope to do well and get an opportunity and go make some serious money in the NFL.
Yeah, and it's not like you have to pick up and travel. They kind of keep you in one area, and in turn, I think they play all their games in like a couple of stadiums. Right?
Well, they play in their home city, but they'll fly together. I think the Renegades, they played in St. Louis a while back, and the St. Louis team and them get on the same airplane and go play the game and then fly back together. Yeah.
Yeah, it is, but they're doing some smart things. But I will admit I've watched more this year than I did last year. But I'm kind of. It's like I want to see more guys from the SEC. That's what I want to watch.
Yeah.
And I don't want to watch guys I know, who I've heard of. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I wanted to ask you because you were gone when Ricky Pearsall going in the first round. How good was that? And that. What does that say about what Billy Gonzalez and the job he did with him too?
What do you mean?
With Pearsall? Well, I mean, just getting him ready to play.
Oh, okay. Well, our receiver coach, who was here with Dan Mullen, Billy Gonzalez. Yeah, Billy does an excellent job with wide receivers, no question about that. And I think the catch Pearsall made, that one-hander with 2 guys coming under him, that might have got him in the first round. But he's fast, he's quick, he's a good athlete. And I guess it was predicted second round.
Yeah, but it was late second round.
Yeah, snuck up into the first. Yeah, I think he can play 7, 8, 9 years.
Well, being a good route runner is part of it. Who was the best route runner you ever had?
Oh, they were all pretty good. Ike had that quick step.
Yeah,
he might have had a little quicker step than most of them, but they all could run routes. I mean, we ran routes all day, and Coach Dixon. He could always demonstrate, and of course, back in my early career, I could demonstrate. And so, when you can demonstrate and run them all day, then it becomes pretty easy once you get to the ball games.
Yeah, I used to love that corner post that Doring would run a lot. That was a good one.
Oh, he could run that corner route as well as anybody. Also,
And where'd you get that play where you handed the ball to John Capel when he just was running back? That's where that little speed sweep started
Speed
right
sweep,
there. Yeah,
a little quick. We just called it the quick, Z quick, right or left. And you see that occasionally now, but not as much as you used to.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's in the gun now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So, I still think there's a spot underneath, but very few teams do it now, even on 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, so forth.
Yep. Mm-hmm. All right, Coach, anything else?
Oh, that's about it. We're getting into, baseball tournament time. Regular season's about over.
SEC softball tournament starts this week.
Yeah, our gymnastic ladies won the SEC, which is a heck of a good year, and did not win the national, but still, it was a super year for Jenny and her team. Track, I guess, is getting ready to go.
Yeah, so we'll see how golf does, too. They're at Purdue is where their regional's going to be. I think the women are playing right now, actually, in the NCAAs. So, a lot going on around here. There always is, you know that. But all right, Coach Spurrier's appearances, by the way, are brought to you by Meldon Law. You already knew that, though, and we appreciate it when he's here. We'll be back with Robbie Andrew for Yes, No, Way, or Maybe after we take this break on another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another duly noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Grip Code to Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Spite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Another duly noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Celebration Point. You can watch and listen to us on Facebook and YouTube for every podcast that we do on Mondays and Fridays at 2 o'clock. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Overcast, any of the other 39 platforms where you can find this podcast or your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments section below or call me if you want to do some advertising at 352-317-3444. All right, welcome back to another duly noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It's time for Yes, No Way, or Maybe, brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteak. So we go to the Big Mill Zoom line and we get the great Robbie Andrew. Robert, how was your weekend? Did you have a nice time?
Yeah, good, Pat. How was yours?
Played a little golf. Yeah, I had a good time. I enjoyed Gator softball, I'll tell you that much. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I kept flipping over there. They remember when the program first got started, they scored 1 or 2 runs a game? This team is so different now. I mean, they really crank out. They've got a great offense.
Yeah, it's like, I think Jeremy's told the story that he was coming home and he from going to a tournament down in South Florida or something, and he's like, every game is 1-0. And he was like, why is every game going to be 1-0? And,
yeah.
But now it's like you got a 6-1 lead, and you're like, I don't know if that's enough runs. You may need to get more. It is. Well, I know,
didn't Florida's had big innings. FSU had that 12-run inning against Florida. That's unbelievable.
Yeah,
different game now, Pat.
It is.
Quality of play is so much better.
I just think the players got bigger and stronger.
Yeah, I think so too.
And more. They study the game a little more. They look at videos of pitchers more, and but It is interesting in how many runs do get scored.
Yeah.
All right, it is time.
It's like women's basketball too. Look at how much overall the play has improved over the last decade.
Yeah.
In women's basketball, just like softball. So
Matt Hayes used to say, I don't like women's basketball. It's all turnovers and 2-footers. And he wasn't wrong,
Yeah.
But now you got the Caitlin Clarks of the world just bombing them in from the logo, and it's
I
fun.
know.
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
It is. It's entertaining.
All right, let's play Yes, No Way, or Maybe, brought to you by Big Mill's Cheesesteaks Street Dining Done the Right Way, sponsors of the Bob Dooley Invitational. Also, if you're out there, and again, we've invited people to come out even if you're not in the tournament, but if you come out there and to bid on stuff, the prizes are going to be unbelievable for the silent auction. But maybe you'll wander out to the 14th hole and see Robbie out there.
Yeah. Is Patrick Young coming, Pat, or no?
He is, yes.
Oh, good.
He's told me he's coming later in the day, and so he's probably going to give a little talk at the end of the tournament. So that'll be fun.
That'll be great.
Yep. You're coming to the party Friday night, right?
Yeah, I plan to.
Okay. Yeah. Want to make sure.
What time?
6.
Okay. Yeah.
Up. It's like we're planning everything on our, like we're not on the podcast. We're just. I'll pick you up at 6, Robbie. What about that? And I'll get a babysitter too.
But Pat, when would I ever turn away free beer? So.
Hadn't happened so far. I can tell you that. No. All right, so on Yes, No Way, or Maybe, number 1, Robbie. Kirby Smart just got a raise. He's making $13 million a year. Does he deserve it?
He does, Pat. I mean, they're the best program in college football right now, and the market demands you pay the guy that's number 1 in the country, has the best program in the country. He's getting what he deserves, I think. And maybe it is a little bit ridiculous, but he's the best in the business right now, and his program's ahead of everybody else. So he's whatever you want to pay him, you can justify it.
Yeah, I mean, again, the money's pouring in too, so it's not like George.
Yeah.
Like I always tell people this: you don't understand. Not only is it the NIL money that's coming in, but there's a lot of merchandising money when you're successful. And the merchandising money isn't as much when you're not successable. It's just
I mean, their merchandising money must be off the charts, Pat, with the way they've been winning. So
remember when that day the big story broke that Spurrier was making $1 million? Ooh,
everybody thought that was unbelievable. $1 million.
Oh, this is the end of time if somebody's making $1 million to be a football
I know.
Now
$1 million's nothing.
All right. Number 2 on Yes, No Way, or Maybe for Robbie Andrew. We have a new member of the college football playoff committee, Mike Riley, the former Oregon State and Nebraska coach where he failed miserably. Are you okay with that? Yes, no way, or maybe?
I would give that probably a maybe, Pat. I mean, like you say, he wasn't that great a coach, but I guess he understands the game. But if he's taking it from a coach's perspective, you just wonder, what he values and what he doesn't value in terms of teams that get to the playoffs. So to me, that would be a maybe with him. He could be really good. He could be, average.
I'm biased about this, in that I think there's too many coaches and ADs on there. I think there should be more sports writers, people who have objective opinions, who get paid to have objective opinions and can walk into that room and say, look, I'm just dealing in black and white. I think it's just too many coaches, and it's just like if you're old enough, I guess you get in. Maybe I can't believe they haven't asked me yet. I would be good at it.
And what about you being commissioner of college football? What happened to that?
I'll do one or the other, whichever one
Can't
pays.
do both.
Yep. All right. Finally, yes, nowhere, maybe. Robbie Andrew, you were sad today because the Twins finally lost a game.
No, Pat, I'm not. I'm really happy that they went on a 12-game winning streak, and you knew it had to end at some point. And I got the game on live streaming yesterday, and that I guess he's a young guy, Criswell, the pitcher for the Red Sox. He looked like Greg Mack throwing 15 miles an hour faster. I mean, his ball, I don't think he ever threw a straight pitch the whole time he was in there. Everything was darting in and around the strikes. I don't know how you would tee him up to hit the guy. And, they had one run off of him in 5 innings, and they were lucky to get that. So it had to end sometime. And, I think now they've set themselves up to have a decent year once they get Buxton and Royce Lewis back at some point.
Yep.
So, offense has been their problem, but get those guys back, it'll help. So, at least they're back in the game, so to speak.
Yeah, back in the race, and it's a lot more fun. I mean, it's the same way with my Braves. I mean, they're not in first place, but they're okay. The Dodgers swept them, and that didn't help. But
I've become anti-Dodger now, Pat.
Yeah,
just because of how much they've spent.
They're the new Yankees,
They are.
They just buy their team. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll let you go, Robbie. Thanks.
Okay, Pat. I'll see you Friday night, if not sooner.
I will. Okay. All right. Always love having Robbie on the show. Appreciate him. And let's move on to our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend. And this is I don't usually do this very often. I'm making it a coach, and I'm doing it for Tim Walton. Tim Walton, what a weekend he had sweeping that series against they've won 5 straight against top 10 teams now. They have discovered their mojo, and you kind of knew they would because that's the kind of coach he is. And look, it's weird this year because last year they were struggling and baseball was doing so well, and now it's like reversed just across the street again. But you knew Tim Walton would bring this team back, rebuilt it, used the portal very effectively in getting Erickson and getting Otis, who have been really good, and just the adjustments he's made pitching-wise and retooling his pitching staff, bringing in all freshmen. So it's been pretty amazing, the job he's done, and I wanted to give him credit for that. Second in the SEC, a lot of people thought they would be worse than that. I think they were picked 5th or 6th in the SEC. Finished second in the SEC, and they'll so they'll have that seed going to Auburn, where the tournament is. I don't think I mentioned that it was at Auburn. Yeah, I did mention it was at Auburn, which is that's weird. It's like they should build an SEC stadium that seats about 3,000 people for the SEC softball tournament and play. I don't know where. I just come up with the most centered city instead of playing it on the campuses. I don't like it on the campuses, personally. Just me. I like more of a neutral site thing. Anyway, Tim Walton, I know you've got a lot of accolades and a lot of texts from me congratulating you, but I wanted to congratulate him for a great season so far. Let's see where they go from here. He is our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the weekend. And I do want to mention Adam, who's going to be out there serving sliders during the tournament and then lunch afterwards. What a guy. And I can't wait. Can't wait to eat it, believe me. It's my favorite part of the tournament. Let's get to our Leonardo's at Millhopper Quick Picks. Another guy who's a big sponsor of our tournament, Kyle Cohen over at Leonardo's. Both those guys and certainly Joe Calorio at Titan MRI have worked really hard on this tournament. It's not just me. It's not just Christy. It's not just Tim. We have all worked hard. My sister Joni, my brother Jamie, we've all worked hard on it. But these guys have done it too, and we appreciate them very much. We're going to give you this. We're going to give you that Florida-North Carolina game, lacrosse. Who wins? I mean, Florida's had a great season so far. I think they're 17-2. Who wins the game between Florida and North Carolina in lacrosse on Friday? So there you have it. Everybody's just going to say Florida. Florida. We'll see. I don't know. I have no idea who's going to win. All right, let's move on to Hesser and Kipke's 3 things. Hesser and Kipke is a Gainesville law firm specializing in the areas of family law and workers' compensation. If you're a loyal listener of this show, you know who we are by now. If not, Google the firm. Check out the reviews and hear what our clients have to say. Ken and Jennifer can be reached 24/7 via call or text at 352-339-9920, 352-339-9920, Hesser and Kipke. Also major sponsors of this tournament. We had some interesting conversations over the weekend, but can't wait to see what they got on their hole. All right, let's get to Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Number 1, the NCAA appears ready to settle a $2.7 billion, they should do this, $1 billion lawsuit over antitrust lawsuit. And what is this going to mean? Everybody I read kind of says something different. The end of the NCAA. That's not going to be good. I don't want to see the NCAA done. I want to see it reformed. I want to see it change. I want to see it be better. I want to see it be smarter. I don't want to see you keep giving giant raises to Mark Emmert, and meanwhile he just looks the other way when the NIL's coming at him like a speeding locomotive, and the transfer portal is getting out of hand. And anyway, that's what I want. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens, how the budgets are affected at all these schools. Now, they obviously aren't going to pay the $2.7 billion overnight. It's going to be over time. But where does the money come from? Schools eventually are probably going to have to pay some of it. So we'll see what happens there. Number 2 on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things, J.J. Watt told, I think it was on a radio station on Inside the NFL or something like that. Anyway, he told him, he said, look, I'm not saying I want to, but I'm just saying if D'Amico Ryans called me and said, hey, we need you. And I said, hey, I'm there for you. I'll come and play. I'll just rush on third down, rush the passer. Please don't do that, man. I can just see that Achilles snapping. Just don't do it. You got a great life. You're doing announcing. You're doing commercials. You got everything going. You're raising your family. You love where you live. Don't do it, man. You got enough money. But I understand. You get out of the game for a while, even though you got out at the perfect time. When you didn't want to get injured, you didn't want to stick around and, tear something and be hobbling around like me, even though I wasn't in the game. Anyway, don't do it is my advice. All right, finally on Hesser and Kipke's 3 things. Number 3, Ken Hesser's Philadelphia Phillies scare me. I've watched a couple of their games. Obviously, the Braves getting swept this weekend did not do me any good. We're looking up at the Phillies, and they do scare me. It scared me last year, and they're scaring me this year. Look, the Dodgers scared me more than anybody last year, and they scare me more than anybody this year. The Phillies were the second team that scared me the most, and it's the Phillies again this year. It's a closer second. Because don't forget, the Dodgers were struggling before. I know they just swept the Braves, but they were struggling before. So we'll see what happens with that. That is our Hesser and Kipke 3 things. Let us wrap it up with the Swamp games of the weekend. We were in there on, Saturday was a weird day. We went to one place, Oak. We went there and had a few beverages. And then we went to the Swamp and ate and had a few more beverages. And then I went home, and Kelsey and Karen went out, and they had a blast, apparently. So a lot of fun for them. But so we were in the Swamp for a long time. Saw Ryan. He was around. He was so busy, graduation weekend. But he'll be out on the second hole serving up margaritas. Can't wait for that. Let's get to our Swamp games of the week coming up. All right, if you really are into softball, the softball tournament starts Tuesday. Kentucky, Ole Miss, 6 o'clock on the SEC network. And then on Florida's game is on Thursday at 4 or 5. We'll find out when it is, 4 or 5, against the Georgia-Auburn winner and on the SEC network. Baseball has USF at 6:30 on Tuesday. That's on the Plus only. And then the Kentucky game this week, because we'll give you the whole weekend. Kentucky game is Friday at 6:30 on the Plus only. Saturday at noon. A rare noon Saturday game on the SEC network, and noon Sunday also on the SEC network. In fact, Jeff is playing in the tournament, but he's going to have to leave after 9 holes and race over there and do the game. So he's not going to be able to have all the fun that we're going to have out there at the golf tournament. And then basketball, we're down to the final 8. They're all on, you can look them up. They're all on TNT or ESPN or ABC, so you're not going to have to worry about NBA Network or anything like that. But now we're down to the final 8, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to watch a lot of games. I don't really know what I'm rooting for, though, because I was rooting. I wanted Golden State, and they got knocked out early. And then, your state teams, they're out. I kind of like the Hawks. They're out, but I'm trying to figure out who to root. I think I'll root for the Pacers because the Pacers sent us. I have a friend, Mike Weiner, who is up there and works for them on their staff, and used to be at Florida. I think he was actually a trainer at Florida or manager at Florida, and now is up there. And he always helps us out with stuff wherever he is, and they send us a ball signed by all their players. So maybe, that's who I'm rooting for. That'll add to the value for the Bob Dooley Invitational and for Stop Children's Cancer. All right, that's going to do it for me. Thanks so much to Zach for putting up with me. And then we're going to be back next Monday again, take a week off, and try to have a tournament that goes right. You can never run a perfect tournament. It's like golf. Golf is a game to be played, not mastered. Golf tournaments are games to be run, not perfected. You can't perfect it. I'm going to do the best I can. I have it the best I can. And appreciate everybody that's been part of it. Appreciate everybody out there. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back. And I am out of here.